The public are now beginning to realise that the war on carbon dioxide is an attack on their freedoms and travel rights.
My legitimate questions and scepticism around your green climate policies have been met with sinister labelling as a climate denier.
Climate Change Deniers.
By you and your deputy.
You have an agenda that you are trying to push, and while vilifying me might suit that narrative for your videos, it won't deter us.
It seems like councillors in this chamber must live in fear of speaking out or questioning any aspect of the obsessive green agenda.
There is no intimidation in this chamber on any green agenda, as you assert.
Comparing me to a flat earther last month showed a desperation to avoid any public debate or scrutiny.
I wouldn't legitimise someone claiming the earth is flat in the same way I won't when private conspiracy theories are banded around as truths.
You seconded a motion on the 28th of the 3rd, 2019, for Stockport Council to unilaterally declare an undefined climate emergency.
The fourth question comes from Mr. Steve Hatton, and this is addressed to Councillor Hunter, the leader of the council.
Suburban cycle lanes may be nice to have, but how many people actually benefit? These costly leisure projects are proliferating at a time when voters may have far more urgent needs. Yesterday at 7:55 a.m, I visited the new cycleway at Dean Lane 5 Ways. It took me 1 full hour to fill just 5 cyclists. Worse still, a further 9 cyclists used the road or pedestrian pavement instead. It seems like councillors in this chamber must live in fear of speaking out or questioning any aspect of the obsessive green agenda. This chamber should be the people's open democratic forum, but I have experienced at first hand where a fear culture may originate. My legitimate questions and scepticism around your green climate policies have been met with sinister labelling as a climate denier by you and your deputy.
Providing a platform for climate change deniers. Platform for climate change deniers. Do reject, however, the conspiracy-based inaccurate content within it.
Comparing me to a flat earther last month showed a desperation to avoid any public debate or scrutiny.
I wouldn't legitimise someone claiming the earth is flat in the same way I won't when private conspiracy theories are banded around as truths.
As a former Westminster party whip, you will know very well that this choice of intimidating language also aims to discourage our councillors from asking similar questions.
I believe this entire chamber of councillors is more likely to agree with me than you.
When I've highlighted the reality of green energy pollution, child labour in cobalt mines, and the new risk of lithium-ion fires in SMBC vehicles, it has been brushed off dismissively. Verbal requests and emails for the scientific evidence to justify these policies have not been answered directly. Are you sure that your cycleways have widespread public support, or that your approach to questioners satisfies the Nolan principles of accountability, openness and objectivity in public life?
Thank you, Mr. Hatton. Councillor Mark Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the question was principally about cycle lanes, so I'm going to refer it to my colleague, Councillor Mark Roberts, who is the portfolio holder for climate change and environmental matters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Hatton. I don't agree with the characterisation that you make of our previous interactions, but I'm sorry that you feel intimidated. Climate change deniers. Climate change deniers. Conspiracy-based inaccurate content. More likely to agree with me than you. Someone claiming the earth is flat. Conspiracy theories are banded around as true. I am confident that members across this chamber of different political colours would feel happy to raise concerns with me. And to this end, this chamber is united in recognising the real and present danger that climate change presents to our normal way of life, and I put a lot of effort into ensuring that this is done with a broad consensus. You have an agenda that you are trying to push, and while vilifying me might suit that narrative for your videos, it won't deter us from tackling the issue of climate change seriously, in an evidence-based and sensible way, as our residents rightly expect. The Council, as the custodian of place, has a duty to look to the future, to take risks seriously and to provide leadership, and take our residents with us as we seek to create a more resilient community. Any active travel schemes are fully consulted on, and the vast majority of works are funded through separate pots of money that are ring-fenced by government for this purpose. This Council is determined to tackle the climate crisis through a range of approaches, though. Now, as a rule of thumb, 1/3 of our carbon emissions come from transportation. We need to provide alternative, more sustainable modes of transport for as many residents, including children, as possible. We are investing in a brand new train station, a fantastic new transport interchange, zero-emission buses, and we're pushing hard to bring Metrolink to the borough. We also continue to invest in walking and cycling infrastructure to make it easier and safer for residents, commuters and children to choose to walk or cycle. As we connect our networks together and increase the coverage across the whole borough, I am sure we will see more people choose active travel as an alternative, especially for shorter journeys. I do believe that most residents think children should be able to get to school safely and, where possible, in an active way to help boost their health. I do believe most residents want us to tackle congestion and air pollution. And I do believe most of our residents accept climate change is real, is a dangerous risk to our way of life, and want us to respond accordingly. I appreciate that you might not agree with that. The Nolan principles are important ones, but thankfully, I believe they do not stretch to providing a platform for conspiracy theories and false facts.
My legitimate questions and scepticism around your green climate policies have been met with sinister labelling.
Providing a platform for conspiracy theories and false facts. We sent a unanimous message on climate ambition at the last full council, and the desire to see the government take it seriously. There is no intimidation in this chamber on any green agenda, as you assert.
Climate change deniers. Climate change deniers.
Conspiracy-based, inaccurate content. More likely to agree with me than you. Someone claiming the Earth is flat. The conspiracy theories are banded around as true. There is no intimidation in this chamber on any green agenda, as you assert. We are united, and I am confident of that. But I thank you for your question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Over 800,000 years, global warming and cooling events were not instigated by carbon dioxide, but by Earth's angle and proximity to the Sun. My local climate action group have conceded that historically CO2 was not a trigger for warming events. A rise in temperature leads to a rise in carbon dioxide. However, the repetitive narrative still claims that the resulting and now man-made CO2 miraculously became the key driver of global warming. I have challenged them, and I challenge you, to produce one single, robust scientific study to prove this theory. Claims of consensus are not proof, but fear-mongering and repetition are well-proven techniques of propaganda and mass manipulation. You seconded a motion on the 28th of the 3rd, 2019, for Stockport Council to unilaterally declare an undefined climate emergency, and have used this to launch a war on carbon dioxide. It is also a war on small business owners and working people of Stockport, as it lays the foundations for to levy fines on people for simply using their work vans and cars on the road and gas boilers to heat their homes. The public are now beginning to realise that the war on carbon dioxide is an attack on their freedoms and travel rights. When they see 15-minute cities and their restricted travel zones locally, I will not be a lone voice in this gallery demanding answers from the councils who allow this to happen. Bearing in mind your legal obligations of public accountability and objectivity under the Northern Principles, why did you refuse a public debate on these matters? And what specific counter-evidence was shown to councillors in March 2019 from the plethora of dissenting experts, data and proven science? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mark Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to refer this question to my colleague, the cabinet portfolio holder for climate change and environment, because he will be able to make a much more detailed response. But as the question is addressed to me, can I just say, and I know this is not the first time that this question has been put to us in similar ways, that my recollection is what we've been asked to do previously was effectively provide a public platform through the council's offices for a debate and give a platform for climate change deniers. And I'm not prepared to do that. As long as I'm leader of the council, that will not happen. I will not see public money spent providing a platform for climate change deniers. There are so many aspects of the question that are frankly completely untrue in relation to Stockport. We have no 15-minute city plans. I noticed this was a claim made at the Conservative Party conference over the last couple of days. And in fact, I saw on Newsnight last night, they were challenged to name a single one, and the Conservative Party spokesman could not do so. I know of no such plans, and there are certainly none here in Stockport. But Mr. Mayor, the gist of all this is not so much a debate of ideas and evidence and being prepared to consider other people's point of view. I'm all for that as a Democrat. But what was behind the first question, I think is behind this, is the council providing a public platform for climate change deniers. And that, I steadfastly will not agree to do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You need to have a debate. You can't play the man, you've got to play the ball.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, what's with the labels?
That concludes the public question. If you keep on, I'll have to ask you to leave. I'm going to have to ask you to leave if you keep shouting out. Do you want to speak, Councillor?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, with your indulgence. Mr. Hatton, thank you for your question. I do reject, however, the conspiracy-based inaccurate content within it. I do believe climate change is an existential threat to our residents, and thankfully I believe this entire chamber of councillors is more likely to agree with me than you on this issue. I'm very proud of the work that we're doing here at Stockport Council. We have debated climate change on many occasions across this council over the years, with members free to bring their knowledge to the debate. I wouldn't legitimise someone claiming the earth is flat in the same way I won't when private conspiracy theories are banded around as truths. Mr. Mayor, while I expect that this line of questioning will continue at future meetings, I can assure Mr. Hatton that I will continue to give the same response from me, and indeed I would expect it from almost any councillor in this chamber. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You seconded a motion on the 28th of the 3rd, 2019, for Stockport Council to unilaterally declare an undefined climate emergency, and have used this to launch a war on carbon dioxide. It is also a war on small business owners and working people of Stockport, as it lays the foundations for levy fines on people for simply using their work vans and cars on the road and gas boilers to heat their homes. The public are now beginning to realise that the war on carbon dioxide is an attack on their freedoms and travel rights.